Assalamualaikum and very good evening to Madam Sharifah Nazura. My name is Muhamad Nadjmi bin Muhammad Sheth and I'm from BA1193B. So today I want to explain about the telegraphic transfer. So telegraphic transfer is an electronic method of transferring funds utilized primarily for overseas wire transactions. Telegraphic transfer, also known as telex transfer, or in short form is TT. It is a term used to refer to an electronic means of transferring funds. A transfer charge is often charged by the sending bank, but in another case, sometimes it's charged by the receiving bank. Usually, the telegraphic transfer is completed within 2 to 4 business days. Depends on its origin and its destination, as well as any currency exchange requirement. Also, the telegraphic transfer is the fastest method to transfer the money in or outside the country. There are two types of telegraphic transfer. Firstly is inwards telegraphic transfer, and secondly is outwards telegraphic transfer. So for the inward telegraphic transfer, it is transferring the money that come from the other banks or bank's branch or agents. Also it can be local or overseas, and also it can be in or out of the country, either from the other branches, local agents, or from overseas branches or overseas agents. Okay, so to send the funds, the bank need to contact the receiver before they give it the money to the receiver. And if the inwards telegraphic transfer is in foreign country, the Malaysian ringgit equivalent is calculated at the buying rate. So for the second type of telegraphic transfer is outward telegraphic transfer. It is transferring the money to other banks or banks branch or agents, may it be local or overseas. So local outward telegraphic transfer can be made in Malaysian ringgit, but overseas transfer also can be done in Malaysian ringgit or foreign currency such as US dollar or yen or any other foreign currency. Next, costs involved are amount to be remitted, cost of inland exchange for local telegraphic transfer, and transmission charges. So lastly, if the telegraphic transfer is done in a foreign currency, the Malaysian ringgit equivalent will be calculated at prevailing selling rate. So next is process of telegraphic transfer. Firstly, you need to log in into online banking such as Maybank to you or CIMB online banking, depends on what bank did you use. Secondly, you need to search for telegraphic transfer or send money to overseas. It's the same thing. Then, after you found the telegraphic transfer part, you need to fill in the details. If you want to send a telegraphic transfer payment, you will first need to ensure that you have all the correct documents. Firstly, you will need your own details, such as your name and your bank account details. Then, you will need the recipient's details, or we call it as the receiver's details, including the name of their bank account number, their name, their address, and contact information. You may also need to include their SWIFT code. Once you've got the telegraphic transfer details together, it's time to send the money. But if you cannot do it online, or you did not know how to do it online, you also can do it offline. You just need to go to the branch and bring the documents needed before you can proceed with telegraphic transfer. Before you proceed with the transfer, make sure to check the cost of transfer. It is included with charges and rates. So, when you make a telegraphic transfer from our country Malaysia, you will incur several fees. When you begin the transfer, you will be given the option of paying all the fees yourself or having the fees deducted from the recipient's funds or the receiver funds. Here is a list of the fees that you may be facing. Firstly, sender's bank fees. These are fees determined by the bank you are sending the money from. In Malaysia, they are likely to be around 5 ringgit for local banks and 10 ringgit for foreign banks. Secondly, recipient's bank fees or receiver bank fees. These are determined by the bank that received the money. Next, corresponding bank fees. These fees come from the corresponding banks. Sometimes it can be unclear how much the corresponding banks are charging. So you may need to do a bit of additional research to find out. And finally, exchange rate margin. Finally, it's important to remember that banks add a margin to the exchange rate. This is to cover their own fees. While the margin will vary depending on your method of payment, banks generally charge more than other, more specialized money transfer services. There are many advantages of telegraphic transfer, but there are also some disadvantages. So I will tell you all about the advantages first. Firstly, it's convenient. Telegraphic transfer services are found all over the world. This means you can send and receive money from anywhere and anytime. You don't even have to go out of your house just to send money because you can do it online. You may transfer the funds from your bank account to another bank account through telegraphic transfer services. You can also find multiple telegraphic transfer service centers in every city, so you don't have to look far and wide, right? They are very accessible and available, and the best part is you get your money in your own currency. Second, global service. The receiver doesn't have to go far to receive the telegraphic transfer. Global telegraphic transfer services have many branches where one can go to collect money. Some telegraphic transfer centers are also tied up with various banks. Just check which service the sender used to send the money so that you will know where you can get your remittance. Because the transaction is almost always clear real time, you don't have to wait long to receive your money. It's so fast. And finally, it is so safe. Generally, it is safe to do telegraphic transfers. There are regulations for international telegraphic transfer that all telegraphic transfer services follow. You can thus be sure that safety procedures are being practiced so your money can safely reach its beneficiary. So I will explain about the disadvantages of telegraphic transfer. Firstly, the fees. All telegraphic transfer services charge fees for each transaction. Usually the sender is the one paying for the charge, and the receiver will be able to get the whole amount that was sent. But some services still require a minimal fee from the receiver or a small percentage of the money received. International transfers usually cost more compared to local transfers. Second, non-reversible. Once a transfer is made, it's non-reversible. The sender will not be able to get the money back in case he changes his mind. This is risky, especially when the transaction is made for paying something and you don't personally know the receiver. It's very dangerous. So lastly is attractive for scammers. Because transfer can be made anonymously and only transaction codes or tracking numbers are required to claim the money, telegraphic transfer is very attractive to scammers. So that's all for telegraphic transfer. I hope you understand why I have explained about this topic. See you next time.